Okay, so good day nurses. Now let's discuss the different diagnostic procedure for GI and for your nervous system. So one of the diagnostic procedure for for your nervous system will be the lumbar puncture. Si lumbar puncture, also known as the spinal tap. Yan ang other name ng ating lumbar puncture. So usually class, pag lumbar puncture yan, kumukuha tayo ng CSF. Kumukuha tayo ng cerebrospinal fluid. Yun yung magiging specimen natin to check if the patient has meningitis. Okay? So, una natin gagawin is we need to obtain consent. Yan ang hindi dapat natin kalimutan to obtain consent ng ating pasyente. Bakit? Because this is invasive procedure. Okay, aside from that, after obtaining consent, instruct the client to empty the bladder and the bowel. Why? Para hindi magkaroon ng alteration. And then position the client in the lateral recumbent with back at the edge of the examining table. So parang ganito siya, class. Ito yung tinatawag natin na fetal position. Okay, also known as the fetal position. So yan yung gagawin natin sa pasyente natin. Bakit? Para ma-expose yung kanyang lumbosacral area. Kasi doon tayo kukuha ng sample. Doon natin ipapasok yung needle. And then aside from that, you should instruct also the patient to remain still. Bakit? Kasi pag once na gumalaw yan, pwedeng magkaroon ng damage doon sa mga vessels or sa mga nerves natin. Can cause stroke or paralysis. That's why kailangan remain still lang kapag pinasok yung needle. Kasi kapag once na gumalaw siya, magkakaroon ng accidental puncture doon sa ating mga nerves that can cause stroke or paralysis. And then, spinal needle is inserted in the middle between the spinous process between the third and fourth lumbar vertebrae. So, ibig sabihin, the location ng insertion natin ng needle, first will be the L3 and L4. So, between L3 or L4. Kung hindi naman L3 or L4, pwedeng L4 and L5. So, yan yung insertion natin kung saan natin ipapasok yung needle. Usually, we use 18 gauge or 20 gauge in adult and then 22 for children. Diba anong pinagkaiba ng gauge natin? Kapag gauge, habang once na ito ay tumataas yung number niya, pataas yung number niya, paliit naman yung size niya. Unlike kapag French, habang bumababa yung number niya, lumalaki naman yung size. That is the difference between pag once na tumataas, lumiliit. Kapag French, habang tumataas, mas palaki siya ng palaki. Okay, yan yung pinagkaiba ng ating French and ng ating gauge. And then, obtain specimen per M disorder. So, usually class, sa specimen natin, makakakita tayo dun ng glucose. Okay? Doon sa ating lumbar or sa may specimen natin, which is the cerebrospinal fluid, usually glucose ang makikita natin dyan. At ang normal level ng glucose natin ay 50 to 80 mg per deciliter. And next, we have your protein. So kapag protein naman class, usually normal level ng protein natin, it's 20 to 50 mg per deciliter. So, pero kapag if in case na meron tayong meningitis or inflammation of the meninges because of the bacterial invasion sa ating meninges, magkakaroon ng pag-iba sa level ng glucose natin. So usually kapag may meningitis yan or bacterial infection, ang glucose ay bababa. Bakit? Kinakain ng mga bakterya yung glucose natin. 'Di ba? Kasi sa lahat ng part ng ating katawan, class, only the brain ang nagko-consume ng pinakamataas na glucose. Kaya nga majority ng glucose natin ay, or kaya ang ating cerebrospinal fluid, majority ng content niya ay glucose. Dahil only the brain ang nagko-consume ng mataas na or nangangailangan ng mataas na level ng glucose. Kasi yun yung nagiging pagkain ng brain natin. Okay, kaya mataas ang glucose niya. Pero kapag once na bumaba ang glucose, that is an indication na anong meron. That is an indication na anong nangyayari kay patient, there is a bacterial infection. Bakit? Kasi kinakain ng mga bacteria yung glucose doon sa ating cerebrospinal fluid. On the other hand, we have the protein. Sa protein natin, tumataas yan kapag may bacterial infection. Bakit siya tumataas kapag may bacterial infection? Because the body of protein is made up of bacteria. Okay? But the body of your bacteria is made up of protein. That's why nag-i-increase ang level ng protein sa ating cerebrospinal fluid kapag nag-undergo si patient ng lumbar puncture. Okay? So again, kapag mayroong infection, mayroong bacterial invasion, the glucose will decrease and the level of protein will increase. And usually, ang ating cerebrospinal fluid is clear in color. Pero kapag once na may bacterial infection, magiging cloudiness yan. Magiging cloudy siya. Okay? So magiging cloudy siya. Yan ang indication na may ongoing infection sa ating meninges or sa ating brain. Okay? So, post-op natin, post-procedure, instruct the client to remain still. Why? To prevent trauma on the spinal cord. And aside from that, we should instruct also the patient to remain in flat position for 8 hours. Why? To prevent spinal headache. Okay? So, yung spinal headache, class, napakasakit yan. It is a severe headache. Okay? So, para ma-prevent yan, kailangan si patient mag-remain still for 8 hours. Bakit? Class, nag-aspirate ka ng cerebrospinal fluid. So, ibig sabihin, pag nag-aspirate ka, ang tendency, di-decrease yung amount ng CSF mo sa iyong brain. So, ang tendency, class, pag bigla mong tayo, magkakaroon ng insufficient supply of cerebrospinal fluid sa brain mo. That's why magkakaroon ka ng headache. Which is the headache, siya yung magiging signal ng brain natin na kokonti lang yung kanyang cerebrospinal fluid. Dahil nga, because of the gravity, pag tumayo ka, lahat ng CSF mo ando lang sa baba. Unlike kapag naka-flat ka, there is still, okay, meron pa ring amount ng CSF na mapupunta doon sa brain mo. That's why hindi mo ma-experience yung spinal headache na tinatawag natin. And then, obtain specimen per doctor's order. And headache is the most common adverse effect of the lumbar puncture. Actually, dalawa ang complication ng ating lumbar puncture. Okay? We have complications of the lumbar puncture. First one, we have your spinal headache. Second one, we have your meningitis. O bakit magkakaroon ng meningitis? Remember, meron kang pinasok na needle. Kung hindi sterile yung needle na yan, pwedeng mapunta yung bacteria na meron dyan at pupunta yan sa ating or mai-introduce mo because of that needle. Aside from that, may pinasok kang needle, merong butas. Ibig sabihin, may point of entry. Mayroon siyang papasukan si bacteria. At kapag pumasok siya because of that butas, can invade your cerebrospinal fluid and even your meninges that can cause meningitis. Okay? The inflammation of your meninges. And management for your spinal headache, bed rest. Kaya nga 'di ba, remain in flat position for 8 hours. And then place the patient in a dark, quiet room. Bakit? To prevent stimulation kay patient natin. And administer analgesic. Why? Because headache. Sabi nga natin, severe headache yan. So that's why mag-administer ka ng analgesic to lessen the pain. And administer fluid. Bakit? 'Di ba? Your cerebrospinal fluid is a fluid. So pag once na nag-aspirate ka for your diagnostic test, mababawasan yung fluid mo sa CSF mo. Okay? That's why mag-administer ka ng fluid. And then, take note. If the headaches continue, epidural patch may be required. Okay? It's an epidural na siya. Or, blood is withdrawn from the client's vein and injected into the epidural space. Okay? Di ba yung epidural anesthesia, usually ito yung ginagamit natin, di ba? Yung sa mga tawag na nito, yung kapag nasi-CS, okay? Di ba? If naka-experience kayo or naka-handle kayo ng patient nyo, ito yung ginagamit natin. Okay? So, yan yung ating mga what they call this one, the nursing consideration when performing lumbar puncture or also known as the spinal tap. So class, yung position natin is fetal position. Pag hindi niya nakita si fetal position, baka pwedeng sabihin dyan it's lateral, recumbent, with knees, drawn to the chest. Okay, that will be the position for your lumbar puncture or the spinal tap. Second one natin, we have your upper gastrointestinal series or your UGIS. Upper gastrointestinal series. From the word itself, upper gastrointestinal series, meron ka ng idea kung ano ang gusto niyang makita. Okay? So we have your upper GI tract. Pag once na sinabi natin upper gastrointestinal series, yan ang gusto niyang makita. Ano? The upper GI. Okay? Upper GI ang gusto niyang makita if we perform yung tinatawag natin na barium swallow. Yan. Okay? Your barium swallow. So, pag barium swallow yan, class, again, pag barium swallow, ano yan? Upper GI. Okay? Upper GI. So, una, instruct the client on low residue diet. Pag sinabi nating low residue diet, low fiber diet. Yun yung ibibigay natin kay patient. Bakit kaya low fiber diet? Remember, kapag naka-fiber si patient or high fiber yung kinokonsume niya, ano bang example natin na food na matataas in fiber? We have your green leafy vegetable. Okay, kapag kumakain ka ng green leafy vegetable or ng mga gulay-gulay, anong nangyayari? Kapag nagtitik ka ng or kumakain ka ng gulay-gulay, 'di ba? Kapag once na kumain ka ng gulay, pag tinignan mo or chinek mo yung stool mo, there's still may portion pa rin na may gulay doon sa tae ng patient or tae natin. Or example, kumain ka ng tomato, kumain ka ng scrambled egg, 'di ba? Pagkain mo ng tomato, paggising mo ng umaga, yung tae mo may tomato pa rin or may skin ng tomato pa rin. Because tomato is high in fiber. Mataas in fiber diet, mataas in fiber yan. Bakit bawal tayong mag-consume or dapat low residue diet lang tayo if your patient mag-a-undergo ng barium swallow? Diba sabi natin matagal siyang ma-digest. So ang tendency class, pag once na kumain ka ng gulay, may portion pa na maiiwan sa GI tract mo. At kapag once na nag-undergo si patient ng barium swallow, pwedeng, for example, dito sa image natin, wait lang palakihin ko. Ayan sa image natin, dahil may natira pang portion. Okay. Dahil may natira pang portion ng gulay doon sa may tummy mo or sa may GI tract mo, ang tendency class kapag once na ininom or sinwallow ng patient natin yung tinatawag natin na barium sulfate. Okay? Yung barium sulfate na yan, yan yung ininom ng pasyente dito sa diagram. Okay? Yan, this one. That is the barium sulfate. Okay? So ngayon, pag once na sinwallow niya yan, class, cocoveran niya yung GI tract mo. Cocoveran niya yung GI tract mo. At kapag once na may polyps, pag once na may tumor, makikita mo, ayan class, yan. Yan ang possible na mangyari. Pag may tumor or meron tayong tinatawag na strictures. Pag strictures, yun yung narrowing. Okay, nagkakaroon ng narrowing. So, ang tendency, madidetect natin yan kapag si patient nag-undergo ng barium swallow kasi cocoveran niya yung GI tract mo. At kapag kinoveran niya yung GI tract mo, mag-a-undergo si patient ng X-ray. At doon sa X-ray natin, makikita natin, mag-a-appear itong barium natin na kulay white. Kapag once na kumain ka ng gulay, ayan, pwedeng maiwan dyan. So, ang tendency, hindi malalagyan ng barium itong portion na ito. Kaya pwedeng sabihin ng patient or ng doctor na possible na may tumor ang iyong pasyente. That's why we need to consume a low residue or low fiber diet 1 to 3 days before mag-undergo si patient ng barium swallow. And then, administer laxative evening before the procedure. Bakit tayo mag-a-administer ng laxative? Para maitae at para maging malinis na yung stomach or yung GI tract ng pasyente mo. What if kumain ka, tapos may pagkain pa? Pwedeng hindi malagyan ng barium sulfate yung portion ng GI tract mo na may pagkain pa. That's why, ang masasabi ng doktor, possible na meron siyang tumor. That's why we need to administer laxative para maitae na ni patient lahat at maging malinis yung kanyang stomach. And make sure dapat si patient naka-NPO yan post-midnight. Usually kasi class, itong mga visualization natin, your scopy, your colonoscopy, your sigmoidoscopy, your barium swallow, your barium enema, usually ginagawa yan morning. Ini-schedule yan every morning, usually 8 a.m. nag-i-start yan. So dapat, post-midnight pa lang alas 12, sabihan mo na yung patient mo na huwag kumain. Naka-NPO siya. Bakit? Kasi kapag may kinain siya, meron digestion. Magkakaroon ng digestion. So ibig sabihin, pag once na pinadaan yung barium sulfate, hindi makikita yung portion na yun. Bakit? Kasi may pagkain. So, aakalain na naman ng doktor na may tumor. Okay, that's why kailangan NPO siya para maging malinis or walang bara doon sa GI tract ni patient. And instruct the client to drink a cup of flavored barium. Ito na ngayon yung ininom ng patient mo. That is the flavored barium which is covers the GI tract or the lining of your GI tract. And then, X-ray are taken every 30 minutes. Why? Para makita natin kung bumababa ba yung barium sulfate doon sa GI tract ng pasyente mo. And then, film can be taken as long as 24 hours later. And we should force fluid after the procedure. Why? Because your barium sulfate can cause fecal impaction. Okay? Your barium sulfate can cause fecal impaction. Bakit magkakaroon ng fecal impaction? Ito yung pagtigas ng tae. Kasi yung barium natin class will cover. Iko-cover niya yung tae, hahalo yan sa tae mo, at pag humalo yan, titigas yan. At kapag tumigas, can cause fecal impaction. Okay? So, magkakaroon ng constipation. Possible na magkaroon ng constipation. Aside from that, pag may fecal impaction, matigas yung tae, it can cause pressure sa ating lumen ng ating GI. Pag increase ang pressure, can cause diverticulosis or the outpouching of your GI tract. Magkakaroon ng outpouching because of the weakening of the muscle. That's your diverticulosis. Magkakaroon ng pouches doon sa may GI system mo. And then, yun, first fluid after the procedure. Okay? Parang doon lang din sa cardiac catheterization natin. Na kapag nag-undergo si patient ng cardiac catheterization, we introduce dye to your patient. Di ba may contrast dye tayo? Pag once na i-administer mo yung contrast dye, kailangan i-eliminate natin yung dye. Bakit? Because the dye can cause hepatotoxic. It's nephrotoxic, I should say. Okay, it can cause nephrotoxic. Ganun lang din sa ating barium na kailangan i-eliminate natin yan to prevent the complication which is the fecal impaction. That is your barium swallow. Pag barium swallow, nilunok mo siya. Saan? Gamit ang bunganga. Your mouth is considered part of the upper GI. Ibig sabihin, your barium swallow or the upper gastrointestinal series, it is a diagnostic procedure for your upper GI tract. Next one will be your LGIS or the lower gastrointestinal series. Your LGIS, also known as barium enema. Kanina swallow, ngayon naman enema. Inintroduce kanina sa bunganga, pero this time saan? Sa puwet mo na. Ipapasok yung tube, merong laman na barium. I-introduce yan sa may rectum mo para sa ganun. Ano naman ang kanyang gustong tignan? The lower GI. Specifically, your colon or your large intestine. So before the procedure, we should instruct also the patient on low residue diet. Ganun lang din yung rationale kanina. Dahil kapag once na nag-intake or nag-consume ka ng mataas ng fiber diet, meron niyang mga tira-tira dahil mahirap siyang ma-digest. And also, administer laxative evening before the procedure. Bakit? Para maitain na ni patient lahat. And then make sure that your patient is NPO siya post-midnight. Dapat wala ka nang ipapainom, wala ka nang ipapakain kay patient para sa ganun malinis yung kanyang stomach. And administer suppository in the morning. So kung 8 a.m. ang scheduled niya, dapat prior to that, i-administer mo na yung suppository para sa ganun maitain na lahat ni patient. At kapag once na naitain niya na, make sure na don't forget na mag-e-enema ka. Diba si enema, meron tayong different types ng enema nyo. We have your cleansing enema, your retention enema, your return flow enema, and your carminative enema. Okay? So dapat enema until clear. So ibig sabihin, we use the technique, we have your return flow enema. Okay? So dapat clear yung lumalabas. Kasi kapag once na cloudy yan, kapag once na meron pa sang residue, ibig sabihin may tae pa. Hindi pa malinis yung bowel niya. So dapat maging malinis kasi babalutan niya yan. Kapag once na may tae yan, tapos ganyan ang nakita, pag once na may tae, tapos nakita sa x-ray, may portion na wala palang barium, sasabihin ng doktor, possible na may tumor ang patient. Pero, hindi pala tumor. Tubol ang nandoon. Okay? Tubol ang nandoon. Kaya dapat maging malinis yung iyong colon prior sa ating barium enema. And make sure force fluid after the procedure to prevent your fecal impaction. Okay, same lang din sila. Ang pinagkaiba lang nila, pag enema, lower GI, kapag once na swallow, upper GI yan. O what if, question, si Doc nag-order, sabay daw si barium enema, same day. Okay, nag-order si Doc for barium enema and for barium swallow. Sinong uunahin natin? The barium enema or your barium swallow? So, dapat ang uunahin natin will be the barium enema. Bakit? Class, kapag once na nag-barium enema, for example, inuna natin si barium swallow. Ngayon, nag-barium swallow ka, and then after ng barium swallow mo, i-administer mo si barium enema. The problem natin sa barium swallow, may tendency kasi na bababa yung barium sa may lower GI mo. E ngayon nag-administer ka ng barium enema, pwedeng madoble yung doon sa may portion ng iyong lower GI. Bakit? Kasi bumaba si barium sulfate natin. Unlike kapag nag-barium enema ka, si barium enema hindi yan pupunta sa upper GI mo. That's why we should administer first the barium enema before the barium swallow. Okay, always remember yan. Pag sabay na in-order ni Doc, barium enema and barium swallow, laging uunahin si barium enema before kang mag-barium swallow to prevent alteration sa result. Next one natin will be the lower GI endoscopy. Okay, so pag lower and GI endoscopy, the visualization of your lower GI tract. So meron tayong tatlong types. We have your proctosigmoidoscopy, your colonoscopy, and your sigmoidoscopy. Pag sinabi nating proctosigmoidoscopy, this is the visualization of your anal canal, the rectum, and sigmoid colon. So may pinapasok doon sa patient natin na fiber. Okay, yung fiber na yan, may camera yan. Okay, that's your proctosigmoidoscopy. So usually class, kapag mag-a-undergo ng proctosigmoidoscopy, ito. Procto. Okay, proctosigmoidoscopy. Pag sinabing proctosigmoidoscopy, this is direct visualization of sigmoid colon. Okay? Direct visualization of your sigmoid colon. Usually, class, your proctosigmoidoscopy indicated for recent changes in bowel habits, lower abdominal, and perineal pain, prolapse in defecation. Anal pruritus, and passage of mucus. And then, laxative, the night before the procedure. And then, NPO post midnight and enema or suppository in the morning. And then observe bowel perforation and vasovagal attack. Okay? Related to emotional stress. O class, we need to observe bowel perforation. Bakit? May pinasok ka na fiber. Okay, so pwedeng magkaroon ng perforation doon sa may lining. And aside from that, we have your vasovagal attack. Bakit magkakaroon ng vasovagal attack? May pinasok, okay, may pinasok sa puwit mo can cause, okay, magkakos yan ng stimulation sa vagus nerve mo. That's why your patient can experience the vasovagal attack. At ano yung mga signs and symptoms natin ng vasovagal attack? It decreases the blood pressure. Ano pa? It decreases the pulse rate. Magdi-decrease din yung ating RR and pallor. Okay? So, decrease BP, pulse rate, RR, or your, tawag na your, or pallor. Okay? That's the different signs and symptoms of your vasovagal attack. And then we have your tinatawag natin na, what do you call this one? And then next, number 6. If Nietzsche's position is used, the client should remain still should remain should remain in supine position for several minutes. Why? To avoid postural hypotension. Okay? So, dapat wag mo munang patayuin si patient mo. Okay? Dapat remain in supine position. Okay? Nietzsche's position. Ito yung Nietzsche's, diba? Ayan yung Nietzsche's position natin. Wag mo siyang patayuin agad. Anong gagawin mo? Dapat supine lang muna siya for several minutes. Bakit? To prevent the postural hypotension. Kapag na-experience ni patient yung postural hypotension, ano ang magiging priority nursing care natin? Diba? It's dapat safety of your patient. Bakit pwede siyang matomba? Because of the postural hypotension. Okay, that's your proctosigmoidoscopy. Next natin, we have your colonoscopy. Okay, sa colonoscopy natin, visualization, okay, it's direct visualization of the colon or your large intestine. Okay, so large intestine or your colon. So same lang din yung ating procedure. Kailangan i-prevent natin yung vasovagal attack and your bowel perforation. So ano yung mga indication na may bowel perforation? Sulat ko na lang. Bakit? Ayaw mo?
Hindi
Okay, bowel perforation. One, my body malaise. Second one, may rectal bleeding. Next, abdominal pain. And distension. Sorry. And lastly, we have your fever. Okay, yan yung mga signs and symptoms ng merong bowel perforation. Okay, so may body malaise, rectal bleeding, abdominal pain and distension, and fever. Okay, so yung colonoscopy natin, same lang. Then next, we have your sigmoidoscopy, direct visualization of the sigmoid. So lahat ng ito ay lower GI endoscopy. So same lang din yung procedure natin, class. Okay, may ipapasok lang din na fiber doon sa patient mo na may camera. Okay, to visualize the lower GI tract. Okay, so usually, class, kapag si patient, ito yung colonoscopy natin, class, yung colonoscopy natin, kailangan recommended. Okay, ulitin ko, yung colonoscopy, recommended yan for 50 years old and above. So, dapat every year o annually, dapat kapag once na na-reach mo na yung 50 years old, dapat annually ka nang mag-undergo ng colonoscopy. Why? Because patient natin na more than 50 years old, risk na sila for colon cancer. Okay? So, aside from that, clear liquids. 1 to 3 days prior to the procedure. Okay, dapat clear liquids lang para hindi magkaroon ng alteration dun sa result. And then, mag-enema ka din after the examination. Enema before the procedure. Kailangan malinis yung colon. Make sure na malinis yung colon para walang, kasi akalain mo maya ni doctor or ni doc na tumor yung nandoon, yun pala tubol. Kaya dapat mag-undergo muna ng enema para malinis. Okay? Evacuate the fecal matter. And then, observe stools and vital sign. Tignan mo yung stool, baka may bleeding na yun. O baka yung tae, mayroon ng dugo. Positive for bowel perforation. Vital signs, nag-decrease ang blood pressure. Vasovagal attack. So yan yung kailangan nating i-check before or after the procedure. And ano pa? Colonoscopy, sigmoidoscopy. Okay, yan lang. Pare-parehas lang yung kanilang nursing consideration. Okay? So next natin, we have your nasogastric tube. Okay? Nasogastric tube, meron tayong dalawa. Your lavage and your gavage. Okay? Gastric lavage, gavage. Kapag gavage, di ba? Kapag gavage, papasok ka ng food. Pag lavage, ito naman yung maglalabas ka ng gastric content. So usually, kapag mag-i-insert tayo, Fowler's position. Always remember, class, when inserting a nasogastric tube, dapat yan ay naka-sterile technique. So, ibig sabihin, sterile gloves dapat ang suot ng ating or suot natin pag mag-perform or mag-i-insert ng NGT. So, usually, class, yung site, sterile. No. It's ideal. No. Colonoscopy yun. The NGT. Dapat sterile siya. No. Pundan. No. Sterile siya. Sterile siya. Sterile to.
Pero kung tatanong sa for example sa base, sterile.
Sterile talaga. NCLEX base. Palitan mo yung book. Punitin mo yung page. Okay? So, dapat...
It can be yung NGP or
So,
OGP.
pero usually kasi ma'am, pero minsan kasi dito sa Philippines, ang practice, because of kulang sa
Kulang
or
sa,
of,
yeah.
sa pera,
They
they can
can also,
use na na the clean gloves. Pero ideally sterile siya. Okay? So ideally sterile siya. Okay? So again, tip of the nose to the earlobe to the xiphoid process. So yun yung magiging ito. For example, yung bata, ito na lang. Ito yung bata tip to the lobe, tip of the nose, then earlobe, at the back of your earlobe to the xiphoid process. Yan yung magiging length of insertion natin. Yan yung magiging length ng tubings. Okay? That is your NGT. So class, kapag once na mini-measure mo yan, okay, pag mini-measure mo, wag mo yan. Okay, wag mo yan. Tinatawag na nun, ididikit. Okay? Wag mo siyang ididikit, class, Bakit? Bakit kailangan wag mo siyang idikit? Kasi nga, sterile yung tubings. Sterile yung tubings natin. Okay? So, assess the tube placement. So, in assessing class, the tube placement, we have different techniques para ma-assess natin. Pag once na gusto mong confirmatory, okay, kapag confirmatory test tayo to check the placement of tubing, gagamit tayo ng X-ray. That's the confirmatory, Kapag gusto mo makita ang tube placement, kung yung tube mo ba ay nasa stomach or nasa lungs ng iyong pasyente. Kasi kapag once na mag-perform tayo ng gastric lavage, dapat nandoon sa stomach ng iyong patient. So, para ma-confirm natin na nandoon talaga yung tube sa may stomach ng pasyente mo, gagamit tayo ng X-ray. Pero, we can use din yung tinatawag natin na the auscultation. Okay? So, pwede yun. Okay, the auscultation. What do you call this one? Anong term na yun, ma'am? Siya yung yung parang madali. Hindi siya easiest. Doon. Kasi confirmatory, easy.
Actually, meron tayong traditional way to check.
Oo. May term
I-immerse
siya,
mo lang yan
immerse.
sa a glass
Water.
of water. Kapag
Yes.
may bubbles, saan siya?
Lungs na
Lungs
yun.
yan.
Pero meron, anong
Kasi
term na dun, ma'am?
not everyone can afford the X-ray.
Anong term na dun, ma'am? Kasi ideal, X-ray.
Most accessible.
Yes, accessible. The most accessible will be auscultation. Okay? So kapag once na in-auscultate mo, mag-introduce ka ng air dun. Okay? Dun sa may asepto syringe natin, yung parang malaki. Okay? That's this one, that's the asepto syringe. Okay? This one is the asepto syringe. Ngayon, mag-i-introduce ka ng air dyan. Pag introduce mo ng air class, kailangan may marinig ka na bubbling sound. Okay, kapag once na may narinig ka na bubbling sounds, ibig sabihin, the placement ay nandoon sa stomach ng pasyente mo. Aside from that, we also check the gastric pH ng pasyente. Kapag once na acidic yung gastric, or di ba mag-aspirate ka ng gastric content, pag once yung lumabas doon sa tube ng patient mo, kapag once na what do you call this one, kapag once na acidic siya, ibig sabihin yung placement ay nasa GI or nasa stomach. Pero kapag once na alkaline yan, yung placement ng tubing ay nandun sa respine ng pasyente mo. Okay? Recorded to. Recorded. Recorded ko.
Itanong mo din kung anong kulay ng gastric content.
Oo. Tapos yung ano pa ma'am, the paper.
Sir, you can discuss also OGP, di ba? Meron tayong NGP. Kapag
Yes,
sa
ma'am.
keyboard kasi naglalabas at gawas pa rin tayo dito.
True.
Pero OGP ang tayo.
Go, go mag-introduce.
Recorded pala yung visit ka. Akala ko na.
Okay? So next natin, marinig sound nila dito na nagdi-discuss. Okay. So height of the feeding is 12 inches above the tube points. Okay? So kasi 'di ba class, kapag once na masyadong mataas, mas yung gravity mabilis. Pag once na masyadong mababa, mas slow din yung tawag dito, yung flow ng tubing. Okay? So ask the client to remain upright position for at least 30 minutes. And the most common problem of tube feeding is diarrhea due to lactose intolerance. Okay? Next, enema. Okay? Check the doctor's order. Provide privacy. Position left lateral. Size of the tube, 22 to 32. So, sa enema natin, may mga different types tayo ng enema. Ano yun? Okay? Wait lang.
I want coffee. May water kayo?
Okay, sa enema natin, anong purpose ng enema? Purpose to clean the colon Okay, the purpose for your enema is to clean the colon and evacuate fecal matter and relieve constipation. So usually class, kapag enema yan, we have different types of your enema. First will be your cleansing enema. Okay, sa cleansing enema natin, meron tayong dalawang types ng cleansing enema. We have your high flow and your low flow. Pag high flow enema yan class, usually gumagamit tayo ng 100 or 1,000 ml of solution. 1,000 ml ng solution ang kailangan natin to clean the colon. So usually class, ang kiniklin niya or ang area na nililinis kapag high flow, it's sigmoid to colon. Ibig sabihin, entire large intestine na ililinis niya. Pero kapag low flow naman yan, class, ang ginagamit natin or ang kailangan natin is 500 ml ng solution. So usually kapag 500, sorry class, mali. Hindi pala ito sigmoid to colon. It should be entire colon. And then, kapag once naman na low flow,
Pwede ikaw mag-sign sa amin sa advisor, sir. Wala daw si Ma'am Liz, sir.
Sir Steve.
Sir Steve.
Okay? Pag 500 ml, pag low flow naman yan class, usually sigmoid to colon lang siya. To colon. Okay? So next natin will be your carminative. Okay? Your carminative. Pag sinabing carminative, also known as the Harris flash. Okay? Harris flash, usually, it's expel flatus. Pag sinabi nating flatus class, ano ang flatus? That is your kabag, utot, hangin. Yan ang tinatanggal natin kapag carminative. Pero pag dito sa may cleansing natin, ang tinatanggal natin dyan ay fecal or stool. Tae. Okay, carminative, Harris flash. or the flatus ang nire-remove niya. Usually, kailangan natin dyan ng 60 to 80 ml ng solution. Next will be letter C. Okay, letter C, we have your return flow. Okay, your return flow. Usually kapag return flow yan, class, evacuate, fecal matter, and expel flatus. Okay? Usually, ang kailangan natin dyan, 300 to 500. Sorry. ml. And then, we should watch for outflow. Dapat clear yan. Clear yung lumalabas 5 to 6 times. Okay? That is your return flow. And lastly, we have your retention enema. Si retention enema, usually gumagamit tayo dyan ng oil base. Okay, from the word retention, nire-retain lang natin yan sa ating colon 1 to 3 hours. So usually this one to relieve constipation. Okay, so anong nursing consideration natin? Check the doctor's order. Provide privacy. So kung ano lang yung kailangan, di ba, butas lang naman ng puwet. So dapat yun lang ang i-expose mo. Huwag mong i-expose pati yung sexual organ ng iyong pasyente. So dapat yung puwet lang kasi doon mo lang naman ipapasok yung tube. And then we have the size. Okay, size natin size ng catheter. So size, usually class kapag yan ay adult, ang ginagamit natin ay 22 to 32 French. And then, pag child, ginagamit natin, 22 to 32. Kapag child naman, usually 14 to 18 lang tayo. French. And then, infant will be 12. Okay? So, yan yung mga different French na ginagamit natin or catheter size. So, yan yung pinagkaiba niya, class A, yung gauge natin and then the French. Kapag gauge, usually ginagamit natin yan sa mga catheter. Pag French, ginagamit natin yan sa mga catheter. Pero kapag gauge, sa mga needle. So, kapag once na gauge yan, habang pababa ng pababa yung gauge, palaki ng palaki yung needle. Ang French naman, habang tumataas yung kanyang number, mas lumalaki yung catheter, size ng catheter. Okay? So, yan yung size natin. And then, before insertion, allow the solution to flow in the catheter. Okay? Before insertion, allow the solution to flow in the catheter. Anong ibig sabihin yan? Dapat punuin mo muna ng solution yung tubings before mong ipasok sa puwet ng pasyente mo. And then make sure, before mong ipasok yung tubings, kailangan mong lagyan ng lubrication or lubricant. Okay, dapat yung lubricant natin water-based para sa ganun, smooth lang ang pasok. Okay? Kasi imaginein mo, papasok yung tubings sa puwet mo na walang lubricant. Napakasakit nun. Diba? That's why, kailangan ng lubricant. Bakit water-based, hindi pwedeng oil-based, sir? Di ba ang oil-based mas madulas? So, bakit hindi oil-based ang pwedeng, ang gagamitin natin? Pag oil-based kasi, class, matagal yang matanggal. Okay, matagal siyang matanggal and then, mainit-init pa, can cause irritation sa lining ng iyong GI tract. That's why we need water-based kasi madali lang siyang ma-expel. Okay? So, next natin, allow deep breathing exercise. Okay, allow DBE. Kapag si patient, ipapasok mo na yung catheter, yung tip ng catheter, kailangan mag-deep breathing exercise si patient. Bakit? Para mag-relax yung kanyang anal sphincter. Okay, para mag-relax yung anal sphincter niya. Kasi kapag once na hindi relax, mahihirapan kang magpasok. Di ba, Ma'am Eds? Na-try mo na to? Charot. Okay. So, kailangan mag-deep breathing exercise ka pag pinapasok yung catheter para relax si anal sphincter. And then, length of insertion, 3 to 4 inches or 8 to 10 centimeter. And then, normal height niya, class. Normal height. Normal height. Okay, normal height natin 12 to 18 inches. Kapag ito ay high flow. Pero yung other natin, other enema natin 12 inches. Okay, kapag less than 12 inches, that is slow. Kapag more than 12, fast naman yan, class. That's why if si patient naka-experience ng abdominal pain or cramping, okay, naka-experience siya ng abdominal cramping, okay, anong gagawin natin? Kailangan stop, rest, and go. So, pag naka-experience si patient ng abdominal cramping, isa lang ang tendency niyan, class, isa lang ibig sabihin. Possible na mabilis yung pasok ng solution. So, kapag naka-experience siya ng abdominal cramping, i-stop mo muna. I-stop mo lang siya, huwag mo siyang tatanggalin. I-stop mo lang, and then pag nawala na yung cramping, that's the time na pwede mo nang ituloy yung procedure. That is you adding enema. Okay? So, purpose to clean the colon and evacuate fecal matter and relieve constipation. So, okay? Next, we have your urinary catheterization. Okay, your urinary catheterization. So, pag urinary catheterization yan, anong purpose niya? To empty the bladder. To empty the bladder when the patient is no longer capable to urinate. Okay? So empty the bladder when the patient is no longer capable to urinate. Okay, so we have your indwelling Foley catheter. Okay, si indwelling Foley catheter natin, so class, first natin, check the doctor's order. Okay? Kailangan i-check mo muna yung doctor's order. Bakit? Class, nakakaihi pa si patient mo tapos papasukan mo ng indwelling Foley catheter. So, kailangan i-check mo muna yung doctor's order. Usually, class, ito yung kapag naka-bed rest si patient, nag-indwelling Foley catheter tayo. And then, practice strict asepsis technique. Okay? So, position ng insertion natin, wait lang. Ito na lang. First, check the doctor's order. Second one, provide privacy. Okay, after providing privacy, position the patient. Anong position ni patient? Supine Kapag lalaki, supine position. Kapag babae, dorsal recumbent. Okay, your dorsal recumbent position. Then make sure perform perineal care. Okay, perform perineal care. Kung ang pasyente mo si Adverly Malana, Trendelenburg. Okay? Yung Trendelenburg position mo yan. Okay, number 5. After performing perineal care, o di ba? Paano mag-perform ng perineal care? Di ba may 7 stroke tayo for female? E paano naman kapag lalaki? Di ba dapat? Dapat glans to shaft. So, dapat sa ulo hanggang papunta sa katawan. Hindi dapat katawan papunta sa ulo. So, ulo ang uunahin and then pupunta sa, okay, sa katawan. That is the glans to shaft. Okay? So, mag-wear tayo ng gloves. So, dapat pag mag-i-insert ka ng urinary catheter, it should be sterile. Dapat sterile yan. Okay? And then make sure to lubricate. Okay, lubricate natin siya. Anong gagamitin natin? Water soluble. Okay, water soluble. Anong size? Size niya, pag male, 'di ba? Pag male yan class, mas mahaba. That's why 16 to 18 French. Kapag once na babae, yan ay 12 to 14 lang. Okay? And then, observe for backflow. So, pag once na pinasok mo yung catheter, mag-o-observe mo yung may backflow. Okay? So, pinasok mo, and then, nakita mo, observe backflow. And then, pag once na may backflow class, kailangan mo lang siyang i-advance ng 1 to 3 inches para sa ganun, ma-make sure natin na nakapasok talaga lahat. So, number 9, advance 1 to 3 inches. Okay, advance mo yung catheter 1 to 3 inches to make sure lang na napasok talaga yung lahat ng tip. Okay? And then, after that one, is inflate na tayo. Kailangan na nating, okay, inflate. Okay, inflate using 5 to 10 cc of sterile water. Okay, para hindi, okay, ma-secure natin yung catheter, kailangan mag-inflate tayo ng gamit ang sterile water. So, mag-i-introduce tayo ng 5 to 10 cc. So, parang ganito siya, class. Introduce mo siya para mag-balloon yung ating catheter and then hindi, or ma-secure natin siya para hindi siya ma-dislodge. Okay? And then, secure. Okay, class? So, inflate. After mo mag-inflate, class, isa-secure na natin siya. Okay, secure. Saan natin siya isa-secure? Kapag once na kapag lalaki yan, isecure mo siya sa left abdomen ng pasyente mo. Okay, doon mo siya isa-secure. Bakit doon mo isa-secure sa left abdomen to prevent the pinoscrotal pain. Okay? To prevent the pinoscrotal pain. At kapag once naman na babae ang ating pasyente, sa inner thigh, okay? Inner thigh mo siya isa-secure. So yan yung ating consideration when inserting catheter sa ating pasyente. And then kapag once naman na iaalis na natin si catheter, okay, wait lang, magdagdag lang ako class, ibaba pa lang siya. Okay, class, pag ibababa na natin siya, ibababa daw, itatanggalin pala. Pag itatanggalin na natin siya, ayan. Okay, pag tatanggalin na natin siya, make sure to check the doctor's order. Siyempre, huwag kang tanggal naman ng tanggal. Wala pa sinabi si Doc, katatanggal ka, ang doktor ka. No, so dapat, ayan, check the doctor's order muna. And then, make sure na mag-a-undergo si patient ng bladder training. Okay, paano yung bladder training natin? Una, clamp natin siya for 2 hours. Paano yung ating bladder training? Clamp for 2 hours. Ano pa? And then kapag clamp mo for 2 hours, kailangan mo siyang i-release for 30 minutes. Okay, ganyan yung bladder training natin. Okay, i-clamp mo for 2 hours and then release siya for 30 minutes. Okay, next, provide privacy. And then dapat clean technique na lang tayo. And then deflate the balloon. Then allow deep breathing exercise. And perform perineal care. Okay? So, yan yung ating tinatawag na catheterization. Okay? So, next natin will be your ileostomy. Sorry, your colostomy. Okay?
Pinigil sa akin ng dialysis.
Where?
Oo, kasi lahat kami ganito sila kasi pasaway sila kaya pati ako. Naka-black hair.
Okay, we have your colostomy.
Magandang black mo, maganda din yung blue. May blue na yan.
Pero kung pwede lang papalit tong pants kasi ang gem. Ano gem? Okay lang kasi magpaganda na. Nasa special area ka.